All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Give this just a minute for everybody to filter in. Nick, you're seeing my screen okay?
Yep, looks good.
Perfect. All right, give this just another minute. Looks like we've still got a good amount of people coming in. Happy Friday. All right. Looks like we've got a good quorum in here. So we're going to get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this Friday morning or Friday afternoon, depending on where you're at. For anybody who this is your first time joining the Lytho Lowdown Live, this is our once a month session where we get the chance to talk to you about all the things Lytho has been up to, and you get the chance to ask us really any questions you might have. And so for today, I am joined by Nick, who is a enterprise customer success manager here at Litho, who many of you have probably spoken to. He helps small and large teams manage their accounts. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Natalie. Super excited to be talking to you and everybody today. Yeah, let's
Wonderful.
excited about the questions that we're going to get to.
Yes, yes. So today we are going to be diving into one of the most important and sometimes trickiest parts of running a successful creative content operation, and that is resource management. Specifically, we're going to be looking at how Lytho Workflow helps solve some of the most common challenges creative and content teams face when it comes to managing bandwidth, priorities, and workload. So recently we did release some new functionality around resource management, which is that workload warning that now displays with someone assigning work. And so we thought this would be a great opportunity to really dive into resource management and all that is available to you. So when creative demand starts piling up, it is tempting to just keep pushing through. But resource management isn't about doing more, it's really about working smarter. And so here are, some of the challenges that we hear all the time. We can't confidently assess level of effort, team capacity, or workloads. We're consistently behind schedule and missing deadlines, and we aren't sure which projects to prioritize. So if this sounds familiar, you're not alone. These challenges are universal, but they're also solvable with the right tools and a clear strategy. All right. And Nick, what do you think about this?
Yeah, so as you said, those problems are solvable. We have a number of different features within Litho that can help your team solve those problems. And we like to say that there's not one size fits all, right? There are different teams with different number of team members, different complexity of projects, and so on. But either using some of these features either separately or combined, I trust that you can really achieve organization, making sure that everything is organized within your account. One thing that I do think we'll do a little bit differently this time on Lytho Lowdown Live is that we want a little bit more input, and we're going to get a little bit more interactive with what everybody attending today, with our customers. We want to see a little bit of your input. What are you doing? What are you not doing? Right? So a few of the different strategies that we have to manage your resources using Lytho Workflow or project or work item count, priorities, specialties, custom fields for project tiering, or also for project types or asset types, level of effort, and time tracking. The more granular that you get, the more information you can get out of your team, and it will be a little bit easier to manage your resources. But we want to hear from you. We have here a really good quote from a webinar that we did with Sheets a few years ago, and I think we released as a case study not too long ago, where Lauren said that with Square level of effort, it's really the most impactful thing that we've implemented to better understand a resource utilization. If you haven't watched that webinar or seen that case study, we'll post the link here so that you can take a look. But it's really good and it's very, very impactful. But as I said, we want to hear from you. So we're going to put a poll here for you to select. What are you currently using today? What are the different strategies that you are using with your team? Are you counting number of projects? Are you using specialties? Do we have different ways of prioritizing projects? Are we using the priority features, or are we doing a different way? Are we using custom fields? Do we have different project tiers and so on? Do you use LOE? And then time tracking, right? Perhaps the most controversial topic for internal creative teams. It's time tracking. So really looking forward to seeing what are your input, and what are you using, and what you may not be using.
All right, we got some good engagement here. I'm gonna give this just another second. Okay. So Nick, it looks like most people are using project work item count.
Yeah, and that makes sense, right? If you put a project in Lytho, it's going to be there, so it's an automatic thing that you can always see. Can you put that back up? I just want to.
Oh, I
Sorry.
apologize. I cannot.
No worries, but
Okay.
I did see quite a few people using specialties and priorities, which is awesome, and not a ton on the last two, which does also make sense.
I did
Um,
see a lot of people using level of effort. Time tracking was definitely the smallest amount, which makes sense, but I was excited to see the amount of people using level of effort.
All right, so I actually got sent that, but yeah, I can see about 44% of people using specialties, 50% using priorities. That's awesome. Custom fields for project tiering, about 39%, and level of effort, 56%, the second most. That's awesome to see. Level of effort is how you can get very granular with planning ahead for your resources. And then time tracking with at least on 33%, which also makes sense. But yeah, love seeing that. Do want to have a I do want to show you guys a little bit of different ways in which you can organize different views and uh, different ways of looking at your work, whether it's project or work items
Yeah.
within the tool as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to pass the screen over to Nick so that he can dive into workflow. And we're going to kick things off with one of the biggest challenges that we see. But again, we want to hear from you. So please pop any challenges that you're having or any questions you have around resource management in that Q&A. But for now, Nick, we want to solve for this challenge. We are consistently behind schedule and missing deadlines, and we aren't sure which projects to prioritize.
Yeah, we do hear that a lot. If you have worked with me, if I've been your customer success manager, or we've been in calls together where I'm giving you some suggestions of how to do things, I sometimes practice tough love. And that will be something that I'll communicate now. It's about due dates, right? I still see some customers not using due dates in every single project or work item that they have. If you don't have a due date, unfortunately, you can't see how to prioritize something. You can't plan for it. You don't know when things need to be accomplished by. So due date is a must. I would say start date is also a must, but I understand that can be a little bit harder for some customers. But to start with, project item count makes sense to be the one that most people checked because it's something that Lytho does for you. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to have a due date to have a project item count, right? I can come here, go to my open projects and see that I had 44 open projects within Lytho. I can come to my table and organize them in however I want to prioritize them. So in this case, very basic, just due dates. What are my projects that are coming due in the next few days? I can get a little fancier with a Gantt view and see the different projects. You notice here that they have different colors, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But next, I would say a lot of customers are just using project type to see which project is more important, which ones we should be paying attention to, how can we differentiate the different projects that we have. Again, not all projects are created equal. So we want to make sure that we are using what type of project it is to figure it out, how much effort it's going to take, and so on. So in this view, I have in a table organized by asset type first, and you see it's in the forefront of what I'm doing. And then I have the project information, and due date is my second, it's another sorting. One of my favorite tricks at Lytho Workflow is the sorting. A lot of people don't know that, but you can click to sort for one item on the table. And then if you hold shift and click another item, it does secondary sorting. So in this case, I have my primary sorting being the asset type, my secondary sorting being the due date and time. And when I change to a list view, that sorting sticks. So even if you don't want to work on the table, you can go to the table, make the sorting that you want to make, then switch back to switch back to lists. So if that's the order in which you want to see things, that's very easy to accommodate. And then again, it also sticks when you switch to the Gantt view. So now I can see which asset type as the main priority that I have, the second priority being the due date. But now, again, you're seeing those different colors, right? And that's because I actually, on my project template, I tiered, I have a different tier for each type of, for how much effort each project will take. And I see that we have some messages here. Yeah, Sarah, that is one of my favorite tricks, and it's something that a lot of people don't know. You can do as many sortings as you want, primary, secondary, third, fourth, fifth. You can keep going, and then it sticks every time you switch. So here, the next one that I have is project by tier. So the magic of custom fields. You can create custom fields where you can do whatever you want with them, right? Like you can create different aspects that are important to your business and how you want to track things. In this case, I created 3 tiers on a custom field. So basically my custom field is project tier, and I have 3 tiers. I have tier 3, which is green. Tier 3 are those light projects, the things that we're doing on a daily basis. We know what to do. They're pretty easy, not a lot of effort. The orange one, tier 2, they're a little bit harder. There's a little bit more, it takes a little bit more. There's more effort, there's more information needed, there are more steps to accomplish it. Tier 1 are the bigger projects. The visibility within the company is a bit higher. There's a lot of effort to accomplish these projects, and so on. So you see that I have all of that tiered here. And then I can prioritize based on that, on those tiers that I created. And again, I am not going in each project and putting the tier, then adjusting everything. Everything is coming from the template, and I can show the template that I used to create these projects a little bit later as well.
I do, Nick, just want to point out your excellent use of emojis in that asset type custom field. I feel like that gives just a perfect visual cue into what that asset type is for just that quick readability.
Yeah, and I mean we're talking creatives, right? A lot of visual people that like to see the different colors, the different things, um, to quickly identify what we're talking about. So we try to show the different ways to do that, how you can use emojis, whether it is on a custom field, you can also use it on the templates, on your form names. It's always a good way to separate things too.
Absolutely.
So here I have first project here, secondary one is due date. And then, so maybe I want to see, what are some of the projects that are coming up in the next 7 days? Um, oh, not past, next 7 days. There you go. What are some of the projects that are coming up in the 7 days? And I will definitely use Gantt here. And because I changed the color of my projects on the template level, I can use in the Gantt view, I can see what kind of level of priority they are. So my green projects, my tier 3, those should be, progressing well. The tier 2s are over here, and I definitely want to keep an eye on the tier 3 that is still to be done next week. And I can see here that there might be quite a bit that needs to be accomplished. So those are the things that I'm going to pay attention to. Steve, I will take a look at how the tiers get assigned. I can kind of run that through on the project template level towards the end after I show you a little bit of the different views and the workload views as well, how I'm organizing that. And then lastly here is the tier LOE and type. So I created a quick table view to see, how what tier is in that project, how much level of effort has been estimated for that project, and what is the asset type. So maybe I can see here the tier 3 are going to have the lowest level of effort assigned to them. The tier 2s are going to have a little bit more. And then the tier 3s are those bigger projects that take a lot of effort for us to do. And we can see the type of projects and all of that on this view. But let's be honest, we also have to take a look at work, right? We have to take a look at how the work is being done, because projects is the outside view. Then we can get granular, go into the work and see everything that needs to be done. First and foremost, when I go to work, I want to see what is overdue. I want to see if we're missing deadlines. If we have that issue that we don't know what to prioritize and we're missing deadlines, the overdue work is going to be very important. And earlier this year, we pushed a feature called overdue. So now if you go to your date filter and you can just scroll down on the dates and you see overdue over here and you just click that. Very important. What that feature does is look at the due date and say, this due date is in the past. That is not looking what the project status is or whether it's archived or not. You have the filters that we use normally to assign that, right? So over here, I'm looking at projects that aren't archived. There are any specific work statuses that I want to see that where the due date is in the past. So here I can see quickly that we have 5 items. I want to make sure that where they are, I want to make sure that I know what tier level they are in so that I know what to prioritize and what not to prioritize. And the great thing that I can see the status, right? So my team say, hey, I'm waiting for input on this one, and it's now 10 days late. It's something that I will have to address with Rosa. Something that I might message her. I can put a comment over here on the task and say, hey, do you have everything that you need? Who are you waiting on? How can I help? How can we keep moving this forward? I can see if a design, something's in review and it seems like it's been stuck in review. Why? Can I come here and send review reminders to anybody, any stakeholder that has not provided yet? And then the other ones are also waiting on something. Again, keep the communication focused in the tool so that people know where you're addressing, so that, next week I'm going to come here. If this is still in waiting and I don't have a response to my comment, then it's something that I need to address.
And for anybody who missed it, Nick did make this his default custom view. So as soon as you click work, you're seeing this critical information first.
And let's take a step further and put all the way on top.
Yeah.
Because that is some of the more important tasks and work that I want to make sure that I'm tracking, right? Over here, I can use the Kanban view to see all of my proofs that are currently going through the system. I can see which tier they're in, how much level of effort they're going to take, and so on and so forth. And if I already have a an asset in that proof, I can quickly see what the asset is. And this is something that I would definitely show your designers, the people who are in charge of making sure that the proofs are tracking. A lot of people haven't found this Kanban view yet. And here you see that I'm sorting by proofs. They're assigned to my designers and they are in specific work status, just so I don't need to see the completed stuff. Maybe I want to keep track of my project manager tasks, make sure that it's going well, that they're not over allocated, that we don't have a ton of stuff on the same days. Same thing with the designer work. I just want to keep an eye on what my designing team has going on currently. And but if we're going to be real here, if I'm going to look at my designer's work, there's a better place to look. This is not the only place that I can see how much work they have and what they're working on. I can come to my workload view. Before I dive deep into here, let's see if there are any questions, anything that I can address.
Yeah, Nick, if we want to back up a little bit to due dates, there is a question. Is it possible to automatically exclude holidays and weekends when setting a due date?
So when you're setting a due date from the project, you can pick whatever due date you. So I will address that when we're talking about templates because I think it will be a little bit better. But yes, the short answer is yes. When you have a project template where I would do auto date calculations, when I put a project due date on on the on that on that project, it automatically calculates all the dates for all the work items, and you will skip any weekends and holidays that you have assigned into the system.
Perfect.
Also, another part of that is that whenever you're moving work item due dates, and I can show you how to move work item due dates in bulk if you like, it will exclude the weekends and the non-business days when you're pushing that. So yes. So any other questions here? Not right now, correct?
Correct.
All right. So let's talk about workload. Um, Again, I know not everybody's using LOE. If you're not using LOE, the workload view, you can still make use of it by looking at work item count, and you can see how much work each person has assigned in specific dates. You see here that Christopher is off on Monday, and he has something due that day. So I want to make sure to take a look what is the task, and does he have other days to work on that, or is it Monday the only day? So I can see here that he does have a task. He's already working on it, so we should be okay on this task. But once I open now, I can see the different priorities that those tasks have. Again, all of that is coming from the template. I assigned a priority as a custom field on the project level, but then I assigned a priority on the work level as a priority on the template level. And I will show you guys in a little bit how to do that.
Sarah says workload is so critical for her team. She uses it weekly and
Nice.
daily as well. And I love Steve's comment about the emoji that he used for a shared report last year.
Awesome.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love to hear that
Love to see your
workload
problem.
love.
Again, items will only show up on a workload view if they have due dates. If they don't have due dates, they will not show up here. So very important to make sure that we have those due dates and that we can allocate the items to the correct places. Now, if you are using LOE, that's, I think, where the workload view really takes to the next level, because you can assign not only how much work somebody has, but how much availability they have on those days. So you will notice here, when looking at my designers, they have different amount of availability in different weekdays. So they can assign that how much availability they have on each day. Maybe Monday is a meeting heavy day for one of my designers. Maybe, Thursdays it's a no meeting day and I have a lot of time to put heads down work. So that allows you to really take into consideration what each person has on the day to day. And then it allows you to also assign work to see how much work they have assigned to them. So you see here, again, Christopher is at his limit for today. That one task that we mentioned before, because he is off on Monday, that whole task is being squeezed all on Friday today. But he has the availability. We made sure that when we are assigning the work that he had, capacity on that day. And then you can see he's getting very close on other days as well.
We do have a question in the Q&A section, Nick, from an anonymous attendee. When assigning tasks, can Lytho move to the next day when a member is on vacation, or is there an alert notification that notifies so project managers can reassign to another team member? And I
Yeah,
believe our newest development does solve for that.
yeah. So let's say I'm in this creative kickoff, and we saw here that Christopher only has 3 minutes left on Tuesday because he has 5 hours and he has 4 hours and 57 minutes. So if I were to come to this creative task and change the level of effort, let's put 5 hours now. You will see here that now Christopher has a exceeds availability. So it's telling me, hey, if you're going to increase the level of effort here, he's going to be over his capacity. So maybe you either reassign or you change that to somebody else. And the same happens if you're already over capacity and you're trying to assign something to somebody, it will tell you, hey, this person is already over capacity. You can't assign anything else to them, or you shouldn't, right? We will still allow you to assign it to them, and then maybe you can move things around, move some dates, and they will have capacity, but it will alert you before allowing you to do so. One other thing that I always, specialties is such a simple and powerful tool that I think a lot of I talk to a lot of customers that haven't yet found, the magic of specialties. And even for views like this, maybe I just want to see my project managers. And I can just, instead of having to go through, pick specific people, then change, then have other views, you can sometimes have one view where you can just go through and add this based on specialty, who can do what and when. Any questions?
There is an interesting question from Nathan. Are dev teams working on the capability to provide an aggregated LOE on a weekly basis in order to provide a weekly capacity percentage? Curious, Nick, if you know any potential workarounds to solve that.
Nathan, I'd love for you to elaborate a little bit. I want to make sure that I fully understand that question. To provide an aggregate LOE. Yeah, I would love for you to kind of elaborate on what you're looking for to see whether we can bring that back to the team. You can also contact your customer success manager, make sure that you give all the information that we would love to hear. Um,
In the meantime, we did have a great question from Steve asking how tiers are assigned. So it might be nice to take a look at the template just to show folks how you set up all of this magic.
Will do. And one thing, thinking about what Nathan asked and having some internal help, thank you, Brittany. That is something that you might be able to accomplish through Insights. I don't know if you've had the chance to navigate through Insights and take a look at how, the level of effort is seen there, but you can add different due dates and see what kind of a level of effort you have on a monthly basis for your team. And also compare track time versus the level of effort. And that is one thing that we haven't mentioned as much yet, track time, right? We know that it's a bit controversial, but it is something that will really help you plan for next year, right? LOE is an estimation of time, is an estimation of how much time we think this will take. Time track will give you the actual. So having that actual will really help your team prepare for next time to figure it out. You can then compare the LOE versus the time tracked and see, okay, we're hitting a good percentage, or no, we're not even close. Where the actual is so much larger than the level of effort. We need more capacity, or so on. We will also really help you make those business cases to your team. And we're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later as well. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the project templates. All right, so the project templates that I was using were these three. Again, remember how I said you can use emojis to call all those project templates? It's very visual. You can see which ones they are by just quickly looking at them. And I'm gonna open all of them, and you see how I set up and how I set up, but a little bit different from each other. Now, I've said it a few times, and I'll keep on saying it. There's more than one way to do this. This is not the only way. This was just a simplified version of what you can do. I have teams that have different tiers for different project types, and because they have different items, different work items, and so on and so forth. Make your templates as add as much complexity as you can so that everything's automated after that. So you don't have to be changing things. So you don't have to pick different things, different aspects of that project. And when a request form comes in, a lot of that can be completely automated for you. An insert on the request form can indicate which project template we're going to use, and then you just have to accept, set up the due date for that project, that which they already hopefully picked on the form, and just launch it, and then you just have to pick who's going to work on it. But okay, so here we are in the project tier, project tier 3. It's just a regular design project template. You notice what I mentioned earlier. Over here, project tiering is a custom field. But on the task itself, because I want to see on the task and I want to see on the workload view, I assigned as a priority. I'll let that sink in and if you have any questions or anything like that, please put it in the chat. I'm also keeping track of the different versions. So on that project template, I actually have my V2 and V3 already deployed just in case I need it. It's a lot easier to then delete it if I don't end up using it than to create and then assign effort and all of that. You see that based on the project tier 3 being the lowest effort, I have my level of effort already assigned for the different tasks, including the tasks that I don't know whether I'm going to use it or not. I also have what would be important for me to see when I'm looking at a project. I am using the specialties that we mentioned, and I'm using tags on anything that I want to track about the work items from this project. So I want to make sure that I know that this is version 1, version 2, version 3, and so on, that at the end of the year, all of this can be super useful for you to, calculate how much work you did for a specific type of project or for a specific department, and so on and so forth. You notice now on the tier 2, there's a little bit more. While in tier 1, I only have 2 people, 2 different specialties, a designer and a project manager. On tier 2, I now have 4. You also see that the level of effort in some of these tasks is also increased. I require maybe a creative kickoff for these tier 2s. Maybe I need a conversation to happen. I need the project manager to confirm the brief and make sure that the copy is right. And then I have some other steps at the end that I want to make sure that they're taken. Again, every team is going to be a little bit different. Set up what makes sense for your team, the steps that make sense for your team. And then on tier 3, you will see that I have a little bit more complexity. I have a copywriting group. I have separate from the design group. I have some of the finalizing steps and a lot more level of effort in each of those steps, because I know that it usually takes a little bit more to accomplish these projects. One thing that I forgot to mention on the prior ones is that I also have the color picked over here on the template level, so that when I deploy this project and I'm looking at the game view, everything is already in the correct color, and I can just look at the game view. So over here, you can pick whatever color you'd want. Make your brand colors. Make sure that those colors reflect your company's colors, and so on, that people can relate to. I use project tier here because that also allows me to have a different priority. So maybe it is a tier 3 project, but maybe it's a rush priority project. So then I make sure that that's also recognized on the differently on the project level. And one thing that I promised that I was going to mention, and I don't want to forget, is the out-of-date calculation. You see here, let's go to the Gantt view. You see that I have dates calculated for each step of this project based on my knowledge of how long something takes, right? Again, how long something takes is not the level of effort. It's not how much effort it takes. It's how long we usually need to get everything done, to make sure to give time to our team to be creative, give them that creative freedom, that the ability to create the best possible work that they have. So I set up all of those dates here in a way that makes sense for my team. When I deploy a project using that template, let's use, again, design project 1, and let's pick the 30th. Again, based on that 30th, it's actually telling me I need to start today. If I change from the 30th to the 28th, you'll tell me, hey, you should have started this a couple of days ago. So let's go back to the 30th. That gives me enough time. Again, based on the project template, the project tier is already picked. And I need to pick what asset type this is. Again, guys, I'll make sure that any data point that is very important to your team is a required custom field to start a project. That allows your data to be clean and allows you to, at the end of the year, make sure that you know how many projects for each type of project, how much level of effort it was assess for each type of project or for each requesting department, and it makes the data a lot cleaner. So once I create a project, now I can see the dates were assigned to every single work item. And I can come to Gantt and see that they are skipping weekends. So this usually is a 3-day event, but because it's skipping a weekend, it added more days to that item. I can choose to move them from here. So if I click this, hold shift and click this one, I can move back and forth everything together. And then I can adjust for those weekends. Or my preferred way, it's making it a table, selecting all the items. Maybe I don't need to remove these, select all of the items that need to be moved, and then just move forward by 3 dates. It will tell me here, okay, these don't have due dates, again, because I don't know if I'm gonna need them. And then anything that was going to fall on the weekend or not in the business days will now fall in the business days, and I get business day, and I can just confirm that. And then because I pushed there, I'll push, what is it, 3 days. I'll push here as well.
And Paige has a great comment. To skip weekends and holidays under account settings, you can go to business days tab. And that's where, you can input any holidays that your company recognizes, or say, your team is going to be out for like a team building day. You can put that in, and that's going to allow you to skip those days as well, not just the weekends.
Yeah, if you're an admin to your account and you want to set up, make sure that those business days for the whole year are entered. You come here, just add a date, let's say Memorial Day is the 26th, right? So let's do that. Now that is considered, a date that will be skipped at any time. That the system now understands that is not going to be considered a business day. Do we have any questions?
We do have a question about LOE. Does LOE disappear in workload LOE view when a work item is completed?
It's the LOE. So let's just complete an item. So we mentioned that Christopher had to make sure that this item was completed today. Come here. Scroll to completed. And close. There we go. So his item is no longer there. And it's no longer taking that effort. And also, if we go back to now to work item count, it does not have anything overdue on the Monday.
Thank you, Nick.
Of course.
And there is a bit more information on Nathan's question. It does sound to me like this is potentially a wish list item to send over to product.
And I see Chrisanne also agreeing with Nathan as well as Michelle. Make sure you guys talk to Austin about it. I know that he'll be happy to enter that for you guys as well. So one thing that I mentioned earlier today is, a lot of these data points that we entering when starting the project or putting on the project template or gathering from the request forms can really help you at the end of the year when you're looking back at your reports, making sure that you have all the information that you need, that you're making business case internally, whether it is because you need more resources or because your team, needs something changed or anything like that. It is important to know how to make those business cases. And one thing, and that is one workshop that we'll be holding at Lythopia this year. If you're not aware yet, I don't know how you escaped all of our notifications, but we are having our Lythopia customer conference this year in Raleigh, North Carolina on August 12th and 13th. And there will be a ton of different workshops. The business case one is it's helping you build the return on investment business case for whatever you need to accomplish internally. And Austin and I will actually be hosting that one, and we will have a bunch of different other workshops. Natalie, what is the workshop that you're most excited for
Oh
besides mine?
gosh, you are putting me on the spot.
I am.
Um, I don't have them pulled up. But anytime that I get to learn anything from Nick and Austin, I am delighted. They are absolute pros. You guys know that you want to see them in person and learn from them directly. And if you are planning to attend and you're on this call, I'd love for you to pop that in the chat just because I know we've got a really good crew already signed up. Very excited to see everybody in person.
It is by far the best time to hear from your peers, to hear how people in this very similar position that you're in are solving those day-to-day challenges. We addressed a few today, but there are so many more that we know you're working on every day. And just talking to people, getting some best practices, getting some tips, some tricks, and things like that from your peers is really good. One other shout out that I'm going to give is for a panel that we're holding in the next few days. We can also put a link for that in chat.
Yes.
It will be hosted by Austin, and we'll have some 3 different customers giving their experiences so far with insights, and I am super excited about it.
Absolutely. And now, it doesn't look like we've got any more questions rolling in. So we want to put up one more poll, to see what you guys are planning on implementing next now that you've heard Nick give this, amazing presentation. So bear with me just a moment. Oh, apologies. It doesn't seem like I can. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Thank you,
All
Michelle.
right.
Thank you, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I am not sorry, Michelle. I am not sorry.
All right. Love to see already somebody wants to implement LOE. So I'll give this just a moment and share the results because I think it's very interesting to see what people are now like excited about.
And I can't emphasize it enough. Talk to your customer success manager. As a customer success manager, we talk to so many customers every day, so many people doing things in a different way from each other. And you get a good view of like what are some of the best practices around it, how we can stand that up, how we can start figuring out, what type of template should take how much effort and so on.
I'm also going to pop in the chat, a link to our knowledge base where you can see all of the articles about the different resource management tools that are available to you. Okay, I'm going to end this poll and let's take a look at these results. Very excited to see the amount of people who want to implement custom fields for project tiering, 50%.
Yes, it is a really good one. It can be super helpful. Again, time tracking, taking a back seat there. But yeah,
And
I am
workload.
sure the out of the day calculations is only 10% because everybody else is already using it. Right? Right?
That's fair. That's
Right?
fair. That's a good point. All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you all for this lively conversation. This really was a fun session. Enjoyed hearing from all of you. Thank you, Nick, for putting together this wonderful demo.
Thank you, Natalie, for helping organize and pulling me in to talk about a topic that I actually really like talking about.
Of course, of course. All right. Thank you all for your time on this Friday, and we'll see you next time.